if your department is spending 90% of its time, quote unquote, keeping the lights on, how do you start a continuous improvement culture so you can reduce it to 80%? Thanks, Lena, for the question. I would say, gosh, if you're only spending 90% on keeping the lights on, that's pretty good. That gives you a lot of time for Kaizen, for continuous improvement. The problem I see is organizations and individuals that are stretched to 110% of capacity, and therefore they would say, we don't have any time for improvement. I think regardless of the starting point, I think it speaks to the power of starting small, of getting people started with small improvements that don't take a lot of time, get the ball rolling, free up a little bit of time so you can hopefully do more improvement. I think for a lot of people, they would think it's a luxury to have a starting point of 10% continuous improvement time. You know, I would look at it and say, I don't know what the right percentage is. I don't know if 80% direct work, 20% continuous improvement is the right ratio, or if there's any magic number there. I think it depends on how many problems are still out there, and there's going to be problems, but like, how many pressing business challenges are out there, and trying to find that balance between doing quote unquote real work, value-added work, versus doing improvement work. Like if I ask the people at, I think of a couple of really good organizations with continuous improvement cultures, and ask them, how much time do you spend on improvement? They all say, I don't know. They don't know if it's 10% or 14%. It just becomes so ingrained in how they're doing things, it becomes really hard to even kind of measure it if you wanted to.
Right. So there's probably industry influences here. There's also in the journey of the company. I mean, take a look at a startup with KaiNexus. I would say very, very early on, 90% of the stuff we were doing was actually just improving what we were doing. And now it's probably 50% because we actually have a bunch of customers that's kind of part of the work now. And so I think if you're obviously if you're flipping it, let's just say you were doing 90% continuous improvement and 10% actual work, you probably aren't going to be around as a company very long because you're not doing enough of providing value to customers, unless you had some bizarre kind of product. But the other thing I was thinking about when you were talking about that also is keep in mind that the level of the person in the organization will also influence what they're doing. And I think Mizaki Amai's graph that John Shook actually had up on the his keynote last week at the summit really kind of gives a little bit of insight into at least a framework. He was kind of picking it apart a little bit, but it gives a framework that there's going to be different people at organizations that are going to do different percent time related to continuous improvement. And then I'm gonna my last point to this is gonna once again I'm gonna flip the question on its head a little bit, but and go back to what you started with talking about small changes and starting out really small. But I would highly recommend everyone to, if you don't know The Power of Habit by I always mispronounce his last name, Charles Duhigg, D-U-H-I-G-G, then you should certainly take a look at that book. I think there's a profound body of knowledge there that can be applied to how you can teach your organization to do improvement work and make that a habit. But the book can be described in one sentence. It can't be described in one sentence. If I was forced to describe it in one sentence, then I would describe the power of the habit loop, which talks about there's a cue, there's a routine, and there's a benefit. And that's why daily huddles or weekly huddles work, because, okay, the cue is 9 a.m., the routine is we're going to talk about our improvement work, and the benefit is we're going to get the benefit of actually completing some improvement. And that's what's actually going to create this kind of cycle and give that kind of ingrained nature to your organization. And that can be done in literally, how many organizations did we talk to last week? How long does your daily huddle take? Some people said 2 minutes, some people said 10 minutes. No one said 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.